Hello everyone again and welcome. Yesterday we ended at how we can view um, to see the data types in any data frame that we have, as well as whether it's a vector, and we also saw how we could extract a vector from a data frame using this, like the temperature, as we did yesterday. So today we will be continuing on the uh, how we can access, if we have a vector and we want to pick a particular element in that vector, how do we do that? For example, if I have like, and now we can access a vector from a data frame, but one more if I want to grab maybe from grab an element from a vector. In this case, if we want to do that, we are going to be using what we call indexing, where we are going to be using like square bracket. Remember, when we have something like a matrix, we have the number of rows and the columns in the matrix. So that is the idea that we're going to have here. If we want to extract maybe a particular element in that vector based on from maybe from a particular column, because matrices are made up of what, rows and columns. So I will take this out. I don't really need this, so I'm going to just open up a new script for us to be able to see what is happening. Yesterday we did see the air quality data, and we could read from there and run it. And also we also saw how we ended with this, how we can, from that air quality, if I want to extract a particular, like a vector where we did the temperature and we were running that. So if I run this, you are going to be seeing something like, we have this, like this index in terms of like square bracket with that vector, meaning that if I want to extract maybe the first row uh, in that vector, I might just use like just index 1. Let's say if I want to access, let me do air quality uh, temp temperature. Let's say I want in that vector, I have extracted a vector, and then from that vector I want to extract a particular value in that vector. Let me say if I run this, it is going to be what, 56. Now one thing you have to note here, when we go on to meaning that I want the here in this vector, 56 should be like the fit element. It's more like a list, as we will call it. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, and what, 5. But when we move to Python, it will be a little bit different, because indexing in Python start from index 0, but in Arrow it starts from index 1. Like if I want in this vector, if I want 67, I'm just going to pass in air quality temp, and then I pass in 1. It is going to give me that 67, which is its value. If I want 72, I'm going to use 2, and then so on. So that is how we can do that if we have a vector. But what if we want to do that directly in this data frame? We already saw that if I want to do uh, air, air quality, if I run this, a class of this, we already saw that this was a data frame. And also if I do view, as we saw yesterday, air quality, if I do a view option, it could open, and we're going to see that the various columns, these are the columns which are the names, and then the rows are what the values that it takes. We can see maybe some missing values here. As we move on, we're going to see how we can take care of these missing values when we are doing some data cleaning, before we can do some analytics with that data. So one thing you have to note here, if I want to like do like going to extract maybe a particular row in that data and also a column, I'm going to be using what we call like the I and J. I and J, just because matrices are, if I want something like this, let me just show what I'm saying. If I want to extract maybe a row, I'm going to do I and some J. Now I here will simply be what, like in a matrix we have, which means the I row in that matrix, and J here will be what, the J column of that air quality data. Let's say also there's one thing I want you to see. I don't really need this now, just showing you something. So if I want to do the names, if I want to see the names, in that air quality data, like the columns, I can just do names around this. I'm going to see the different column names that we have here. We have temperature, month. We are going to do a lot with this data as we move on. Maybe we want to calculate mean, filter something as we're going to see as we move on. Because sometimes if we want to filter data, meaning that if we want maybe just hot temperatures, temperatures that are above 80, how can we do that from this data frame to be able to analyze that hot temperatures rather than cold temperatures? That's something we are going to do as we move on. Let's say I want the feed element from column 4. Feed element from column 4. Feed element meaning that, as I did mention, I'm going to do air quality. I want the feed element, which is the row from what? From column 4. Right? Say ij. If I run this, let's see what we can get. We can go here. The feed element from column 4 is what? Is 56. Let's go back to this view when we did view quality and see what we have here. We have column 4 here is what? We have 1, 2, 3, 4. So column 4 is that temperature column. I want the feed element from that column. So I have, the first element from that column is a missing value. The second element is a missing value. The third is 14.3 and the feed is what? 56. That is why we are having 56 here. Let's say I want to go into this fourth column and extract 14.3. I go back to my code here. I will be passing what? I need the fourth value from column 4. If I run this, I'm going to, no, let's go back to this. Which is it? No, this should be a third, not fourth, please. Let's go to the third value from column 4. And I run this, we should be, what am I getting? Let's go back. What am I saying? Feed value from column 4, I should have 56. And then let me go back. This is the feed value from column. Oh, no. I'm making a mistake. This should be like the, this is column, is win, please. Sorry. If I want 14.3 is column 3 and found on row 5. So if I go back, I want row 5 but column 3. I run this, I'm going to be having that 14.3, which makes sense now because 14.3 is found on the win column and so on. So if I go, maybe I want this NA. Let's see whether we can extract this NA. It's found on column 2, which is solar dot arrow and row 5. Let's go back and see what we can do there. I want column 2, row 5. Let's see whether we can extract that missing value, which we are seeing that missing value here. Now, if I want to do something, if I want just that the feed row in that data, how do I do it? If I want just that feed row without extracting the column, specifying the column, I'm going to pass in this. And because I want just that feed row, I will do 5 and comma without specifying the column name. So here, if I run this, I will be having, you see that it is extracting all these columns and giving me all what? All the feed row for all these columns, which makes a lot of sense, meaning that I want to consider all the column names, but I want just the feed row in these columns, which makes sense. If I go here and go to the feed row, we will see that it matches what we have here. It matches what we have here because we have two NA values. We have 14.3, we have 56, 5, and 1 and 5. That is the way we can do that. Now, if I want just those columns, like if I want column 4, the fourth column, I will do air quality. I pass in this, and then I'll do comma, and then I'll pass in 4, and then I run it, and let's see. So in that case, it will only give me values for that fourth column, which is what this temperature. And if we go back and try to verify this value, we can try to verify whether they are same. We can do air quality like we did the last time. We pass in the tutor and we pass in this temperature, and then we're gonna see that these values will match out. See, they are matching out. They are the same thing. So that is the way we can do. Instead of using this tutor every time, you can decide to use numbers to actually extract what? To extract whether you want a row of data, whether you want a particular column, and so on. That is the way we can do that. Now, there is another way. If I want the fourth column of data, like air quality, air quality, like um, the air quality temperature. Like I want just that fourth column, the fourth column of that data. So I can just do air quality. If I want just that fourth column of that data, I'm going to use double square bracket. I pass in that fourth column. Let's see what we get. You see, it is giving me like something similar to what we have here, like like this. So there are different ways we can do that, go through it. And then if you want maybe to extract multiple columns, like just maybe if I want to extract the second, fourth, and sixth columns of that data, I can just do air quality like we do. Remember what we were doing when it comes to like a vector. We are going to pass in something like a vector to extract the second, fourth, and maybe the sixth column. On this, it is extracting data for this column, and we can see it's pretty long, like, but it's extracting data from what we can go. We see that the second column in this data is what this solar dot arrow, and then the fourth column is that temperature, and the sixth column is what is day. That is one way you can do it. Another way you can do it is just to do in this air quality. Different ways you can do that. Air quality in that way, pass in square. Instead of doing that, I can just do pass in that column, the column names in that vector. Remember, I said this vector can be what we call text. It can take text, it can take numerical values, and so on. And then I'll pass in what win. If I do this, it will still extract just that temperature, just these two columns, which makes sense. That is the way. So sometimes I might want you, maybe some analysis wants you just to use just some basic columns and so on. There is still another way if you want to consider all columns except the second one. Like if I want all the columns except the second one, we have to go to the notion of what? Make the minus. Like I want every column, but I do not want the second column. So remember, the comma there is actually telling me that I want just columns. I don't want rows, because I want to remove the second column. I will just do minus here, and let's see what we get. If I run this, we will run. Let's go back at the top of this. We will see that every other column is included apart from what the second column. If we look here, the second column is not included. That is the way you can manipulate data. So for example, if I said you should do some analysis excluding the second column, you can just call this new data, right, and label it new data or something like that, so that you can always run this and refer it somewhere. I can do this now and say if I do view of that dot, we're gonna see that the view of that dot has just what it has, this new data frame without what this second column. So that is the way you can do this data manipulation and so on. So what I want you to do is you can try it by your own way. Maybe a fast way of maybe creating a vector, and from the air quality, maybe one just column 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 or something like that. You can still do it in different ways. If I say you should extract maybe 1:5, just know that I want, or maybe extract all columns except uh, the temperature and the wind column. If I ask you this kind of question, you can go back to the data set. Where is the temperature and the wind column? This is column 3 and column 4. We can go back here and see, okay, if that is the case, you can use the notion of what a vector here. We can say I don't want the temperature column, which is found on column 3, and I don't also want the wind temp, which is found on column 3. So I'm just going to do -3 here, and what? And -4. Let's see what we get. You see, and if I run that view now for this data, we're gonna see all these two columns, they are not included, they are removed from that data. So that is the way you can change stuff in a data frame, and then try to act. And there are also ways. If I want to go to this air quality data, let me say I want this data now, and I want to go to maybe add some values, maybe go to the second uh, uh, column, or so maybe the first column, or maybe this temperature. Let me see, I'm here. Maybe I want to go to this ozone and replace this value 41 with maybe 18 or something like that. Yeah, you can do that. If I want to do that, what am I going to do? I'll just do that, and I pass in, I can use the tutor I want on zone, and then in, I want to go to what? To the first row, and replace that value with, let me see, 18 and see whether it works. Yeah, let me now do that. Let me do view that. Let me see whether that, I want to see whether this value, you see it has already replaced that with that 18. There is no need doing that. If I run this, initially it was 41, but you see now it is now showing me that is what is 18. So if I run this view again here, you're going to see that that value has been changed to 18. That is the way you can bet, you can manipulate data, you can do anything with it. And one other way we can do is this will be the last thing for this video. Like if I want to filter, filtering is very, very important. If you want to maybe get writing some, filtering means you are just passing some conditions. Maybe you want the maximum value from that temperature column. Maybe say max, max, and I'm doing the air quality, the entire data without changing, and I do tutor, and then the temperature. Let's see what we get. The maximum temperature there is what we see, that is 97. That's the maximum value. You can do minimum value, you can do anything. Let's say if I want temperatures like filtering, maybe I want from that air quality, I want to go to the temperature column, and pick temperatures that are greater than what? Greater than 90. And run this, let's see. You see, if I pick, it's giving me what? True. Cases where they are false, meaning that it doesn't hold, because it's like a boolean. It will give you either true or false. But actually, if you want the values to actually appear instead of those true, false, you can do something different. Which is like doing what we call like subset of that data. Maybe if I want maybe air quality, and I pass inside that air quality, I want temperatures that are greater than 90, so we already know this. So if I'm passing this here, this is like getting just the rows. I don't need the columns. So let's see what we get. You see, it's giving us values, which makes sense. So I want to go in here. It will only give me, I want all the columns included, but I only need rows where the temperature is greater than 90. And if you see the temperature column here, you will see that everything is what is greater than 90. It doesn't, that is the kind of thing you can do. Maybe you want to just look at those temperatures that are greater than 90, and then trying to do some analysis with it and so on. That is it for this video today. The next video will be still continuing with these filtering conditions, and then we'll do how to do group summaries. Maybe instead of like getting the temperature, I want to get the temperature for the various months, grouped in terms of the months and so on. So that is what we are going to be seeing for the next video. Thank you so much for following, and keep going through these lessons. And if you have any questions, don't hesitate to ask me. Thank you, and bye for now.